Hey, everybody. Good morning. I hope my internet is going to comply with me this morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching. Sophie here with a quick Facebook Live, really to kick off this month. So today is really World Menopause Day. And so the next month from today, the 18th of October until the 18th of November, just before the holidays, I'm going to really be digging into menopause and so many of the myths and the difficulties that many experience. We really want to get into this because here's the thing I found, and for those of you, and I am actually going to put the comments on so that I can see, and do leave me comments while you're in here. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from, etc. What your name is, because sometimes it doesn't always come up with your name there. But for those of you who do know me, and particularly those of you who have worked with me, if there are any of my lovely clients on, you'll know that one of the things that I'm so passionate about is the fact that, I don't believe that menopause has to be a time of suffering. And that many of the myths that we hear, hi Lorene, hi Jill, can sort of make us believe, that you're going to suffer from this, you're going to suffer from that, etc. Now, it's not to take away from the fact that it can be difficult for some women. The menopausal period, starting in premenopause, that can take you by surprise, or perimenopause, when your hormones start shifting and you're like, what is going on? And you start having these symptoms, and then you turn the sort of menopause corner, because it's not just like one sudden day that you go into menopause. Going into menopause, it's called the menopause transition, can be 1 year, it can be 2 years, it can be 5 years. And then, if you've been a full 12 months without having any, periods, then, for the most part, and the average age of menopause, the average is 51. But then, you're technically in menopause, and menopausal symptoms, hi Tammy, menopausal symptoms can go on as long as anywhere from 2 years to 10 years. And so, if you are suffering, I hear you, I get you, of how difficult it can be, how alone you might feel, how embarrassing some of the symptoms can be. I hope I'm not freezing too much. Let me know if anyone who's watching. Hi, Rosa. I can see I'm freezing up a little bit. So can you let me know, Lorene, Jill, let me know if you can see me, if I've frozen, or can you see me and hear me clearly? Oh, I have frozen. I can see I've frozen a little bit. Okay, well, we're just going to push on with this. So, ladies, you're okay here. Okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to push on with this. So, ladies, here's the thing. What I want to cover today is I want to cover a few myths that I hear. Good, thank you, Lorene. That I hear a lot. And these myths, I'm just going to very, very quickly go through today. Now, because I've got all of this content coming up for the next month, all about digging into menopause. And for those of you who don't know, I help women who are 45 plus, which is right in that pocket, to get into the best shape of their life, best shape possible for you inside and out. And I've helped hundreds of women to do this. So if you are struggling, then what I really want to make sure you do is make sure that you are subscribed to my email list. And so you can just go to, and I actually will pop this in the link in the chat. I'm going to just, because sometimes I think all of you know and some of you maybe don't. I'm going to just show you where you can subscribe because I don't want you to miss anything, because we got some really exciting stuff coming up. So there you go. I've just popped it in the link right there. All right, ladies. So let's go through these myths. Now, the first myth, and this myth I deal with a lot, because some of the symptoms of menopause, of which there can be many, of perimenopause and postmenopause. And it can be everything from weight gain around the midsection, also known as belly fat. It can be hot flashes, brain fog, extra stress, irritability, hot flashes, sleeplessness, and then some more embarrassing symptoms as well for women, which is, it can be vaginal dryness, it can be low libido, and those two things can go together. It can be incontinence, it can be, a weakening pelvic floor. There's so many things that can happen. And again, what I'm always looking for is solutions for all of those things. But let's go over the myths. So number one myth is that belly fat is inevitable, middle section weight gain. And middle section weight gain in menopause is determined by this section, which is just below your breastbone, your bra line, to your hips. It's this section here, okay? And that midsection weight gain, you will be more predisposed to gain weight around your midsection when you are in menopause and when you are postmenopausal, because of declining estrogen levels that can lead to abdominal adiposity. It can, but it does not have to. And so what's really important to understand is that you absolutely do not have to live with midsection weight gain. Now, I'm not talking about, obviously, if you've had 4 children and you've got a little bit of, hi, Stephanie, and you've got, a little bit of, extra skin and a little bit of the little sort of pooch after you've had a child. That's not what I'm talking about. Let's be realistic, ladies. If we're over the age of 50, we're not, most aren't. I don't want, us to all think, oh, we should have, this sort of airbrushed, flat 6-pack stomach. No, we're all different shaped, gorgeous, beautiful shapes and sizes, and that's absolutely fine. But belly fat, it tends to be the visceral fat, and it's very subtle how it grows. You can start be experiencing like, oh, I'm getting a little bit more, I'm noticing in that area, my clothes aren't fitting so well, I have to go up another jean size or dress size, and it can start in that way, and then it can get worse. And this is the dangerous kind of fat, which is known as, it is visceral fat. But the good news is, and this is the myth, is it's inevitable. Oh, just live with it. That's what happens as you get older. Don't, no, that is an absolute myth and a lie. You do not have to live with it. My clients absolutely do not. They release their weight. They release the fat that they no longer want to be carrying on their body. And they manage to do that in their 50s and 60s. And I've seen it with hundreds of women that I've helped. And I'm so passionate about it because it's just something you don't have to settle for, and neither should you settle for, because we're not talking vanity here, although that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look beautiful and lean and gorgeous in your clothes and, feel really good about your body. Nothing wrong with that. But what I'm really talking about is how that midsection weight gain starts to affect your health in menopause and all your metabolic pathways. And so that's really what it's like. You shouldn't have to live with it. You shouldn't have to live with it, settle for it. And I wouldn't recommend you do. Okay. So that's the first myth. Yes, there are, Jill, you're absolutely right. There are pelvic floor therapists who can really, really help with urinary incontinence, and some of those more embarrassing symptoms. So that's definitely something you can go down. All right, myth number 2, HRT is dangerous. Hormone replacement therapy is dangerous. This is myth number 2. And all the recent research that we know, and this is meta-analysis of all available research to date, the latest research over the last 10 years. Okay. And this is that, and really understand that if you follow me with the science, you have to understand that with science, there's a hierarchy of science. There's like top tier science, which is my job to root that out and put it together for you. And then there's sort of slightly less, I call it the more sort of flimsy science. But what I'm looking at is top tier, top drawer in the hierarchy science. Hormone replacement therapy doesn't have to be dangerous. Now, obviously, there are so many variables with this. But just to put under this big umbrella for everybody, oh my gosh, it's dangerous, it's going to put me at higher risk for this, and this, is a myth. So if you are really suffering from menopausal symptoms, unpleasant symptoms, embarrassing symptoms, my recommendation is to go and see your OBGYN, make an appointment, and or your doctor. Whoever is somebody that you feel comfortable enough that you can talk to about these symptoms. You're not going to be judged, and somebody who's going to come to you with curiosity. This is really important because I think as women in menopause, we don't want to just be brushed off with a doctor, with a sort of biased answer. We want to have somebody who's really going to listen to us, lay out all the options for you, the risks and the benefits of all the different options. If that's something that you're considering doing, then I really recommend that you do that. I can't comment on bioidentical and HRT, Jill, because I'm not a doctor. So that would be a conversation that you would need to have with your doctor or your OBGYN. Don't go to educate. You really need to go to an OBGYN or an MD. That is my recommendation. There are many functional doctors. There are many integrative doctors, and they might do a plethora of testing. Some can be, great, and some not so great. But I do also want you to understand that in the field of particularly bioidentical hormones, it's unregulated, unless it can be unregulated. So there's regulated, which can sometimes be slightly vilified because it's, oh my gosh, they're synthetic, but they will be more regulated. And then there's the whole field of holistic integrative functional medicine, compounded, etc. You have to be a little bit careful with that. You have to really work with somebody who is also a doctor. You're being tested regularly. All your genetic testing is done. You are being tested, you are being scanned, etc., to make sure it's really safe for you. But the myth that I wanted to bust on this piece is that the myth that HRT is dangerous, because that blanket statement that I hear a lot of people, either women come to me and they go, oh, it's the silver bullet, it's the magic, it's going to cure everything, or it's dangerous. Both of those are myths. Both of them are myths. But walk the safe path. Okay. Let's look at the next myth. Okay. And actually, I'm going to add another little myth onto this one, which is further down, but I'm going to link it to this myth. So the other myth is that is about HRT. So hormone replacement therapy can help me to lose weight and my belly fat. That is a myth. Do not believe it. I work with hundreds of women to help them release belly fat and their fat after menopause. And I would say the majority of clients that I work with are not taking HRT. The majority are not. And they release their belly fat and they release their weight. So do not think it's a myth that, oh, I can go to the doctor, be put on HRT, and it's going to deal with that piece. It is not. Yes, it might help with interrupted sleep. It could help with other symptoms of menopause, but it's not the silver bullet or the magic bullet for weight loss. That is a myth. All right, we've done that one. Next one is you have to live with hot flashes. You do not. That is an absolute myth. You do not have to live with hot flashes. Now, to some extent, you may go through a period where you have to accept that you're going to get a little bit hotter at night. There may be some night sweats going on. There might be some interrupted sleep, etc. But you don't have to. And the thing about hot flashes is that being a nutritionist, I understand that nutrition can be a very powerful tool in dealing with hot flashes. Now, I can't go into all the ins and outs of the nutrition right now because there are so many different pieces. This is what I work with my clients who are in my coaching program. We go through all the little different pieces of nutrition, and it's complex. And there are many different little pieces that come in to helping you to minimize those symptoms. And there are little pieces of the puzzle that pertain to the individual as well, because everybody is a little bit different. So what works for this client may need to be adjusted or may not work for that client. And that's where nutrition is nuanced, and you really need to work with somebody who can really listen to you and understand what's, going on with you. But don't think you have to live with hot flashes, because you do not. Okay. Now that question, Sarah, that question is a question to take to your doctor. Go to your OB/GYN, go to your doctor with that question, because that question about birth control and bleeding and whatnot, that's something I don't feel comfortable answering because I'm not an OB/GYN. So take that to your doctor. Next myth, brain fog is inevitable, or you've got to live with it. You do not have to live with brain fog. I mean, brain fog is a very blanket term, isn't it? It's becoming more forgetful. It's feeling foggy. But there's a lot of pieces that come into brain fog. It can be cortisol levels, stress levels that have risen up. It can be circumstantial. So many women that I work with in menopause have a lot of other deep underlying stress going on, stress within, upset going on within, trying to cope with a lot going on in their life, work, family, elderly parents, kids, and everything else. And then on top of that, trying to manage symptoms, not feeling good, being worried about your body. All of this can lead to, I can't remember things, I'm foggy, I'm confused, I'm not clear. So you don't have to live with it. But again, Hi Lim, you might need help. You might need help, because can you see, as I'm going through these pieces, it's sort of not a one size fits all. There's a lot more to the picture with everything that as women that we struggle with. There are underlying issues, and you may need help. You may need help either by going to your OB/GYN doctor, finding a really good doctor, as I said before, who can really listen to you and lay out some really viable options for you. Listening, I believe, is the absolute operative term. I've been over the years to so many different functional, integrative, regular doctors, internists, interviewing, etc. And when I am with somebody who really listens to me, I feel heard. And then that's when I can trust somebody. I feel heard. And I want to know what the options are with a clear, unbiased approach. So next, let's go to, this is a good myth. So you need to take menopausal supplements. That is a myth. There's a lot of companies that are selling menopause supplements. I've seen lots of them. Clients come to me, and if any of my clients are on, you'll know what I'm talking about. And sometimes they're like, I like to go through all of your supplements when you work with me. And sometimes I'm like, either I see one of two things. Either I'm not really taking anything, or I'm completely erratic with them, or I see clients literally, I have to weed through like 10 or 15 different supplements. Because, and it's really interesting when I see that, because I see all of I know the kind of big marketing engines out there, and I'm like, oh, you've been drawn into this one and this one and this one. But you don't need all of these supplements. You don't need to be rattling with certainly sort of menopausal supplements. There are, with my clients that I work with, there are no, put it this way, it's not going to be a huge difference. The supplements that I recommend, and they're really basic supplements for a client who's 36 and a client who's 56. There is not a huge difference at all. Amounts might vary a little bit. The amounts topping up. There's the difference there. But you don't need to go buy menopausal supplements. All right. This is a really important one. A myth. Oh, you don't, and you might hear this, I don't know, from a doctor or somebody, anybody out there, or read it or just think it yourself. You don't really need to worry about heart disease. And you don't need to really worry about your cholesterol levels. This is a myth that I bust so often. You don't need to worry about cholesterol levels because your doctor may say to you, oh, your bad cholesterol, your LDL is a little high, but we don't really need to worry because your good cholesterol, everything, the ratio is good. That's an old myth, by the way. And if your LDL, your bad cholesterol, it's called your LDL, is high, meaning that it's over 100, you do need to pay attention, because heart disease is the #1 killer for women over 50. And the fact remains, the undeniable fact, that women over 50 shift to it's called an atherogenic lipid profile, which basically means that your lipid profile triglycerides and LDL will skew toward you building atherosclerotic plaque. That is just a fact. And that is exacerbated in a woman over 50. So the myth that it's like, oh, you don't have to worry, your levels are sort of ratios are fine and everything. I would say no, actually do really pay attention. If your LDL is 100 or above, start looking at that. Start paying attention to that, because the fact is that through nutrition, you can significantly lower that number, even if you're genetically predisposed towards high cholesterol. And if there are any of my clients on today, put a comment in the chat, because so many of my clients have so significantly managed to drop their LDL that they're pretty excited about that. Let's just see what else. Oh yes, 2 more myths. Another myth is you don't worry about your blood glucose, your A1C, blood glucose. It's okay. And these are sort of myths that are more myths in it's don't worry, things are okay. Don't settle for okay, because the fact is, in just the same way that a woman over 50 will skew more towards a different lipid profile, meaning your risk for cardiovascular disease raises, so does your blood glucose control. Okay? Meaning that you need to get your A1C levels tested. And you need to really pay attention to that, because after 50, that's when it can start creeping up. And given the fact that I think it's like 50% of Americans are pre-diabetic and don't even know they are, pay great attention. So if you take anything away from this live today, pay attention to your LDL cholesterol levels. They need to be 100 or below, and your A1C, which needs to be 5.6 or below. All right. Last is Your last myth is gut health is gut health. Gut health just stays the same. It doesn't, very interestingly. So when you shift into that sort of menopausal age, 50 and above, your gut microbiome changes. It's fascinating. I'm so fascinated by this research. But it's actually honestly not just in your gut, it's everywhere because your microbiome is all over your body. It's in your mouth, it's on your skin, it's in your eyes. Obviously, it's in your vagina. It's everything changes. The pH changes in your vagina when you're postmenopausal, and this can give rise to all sorts of those of you who suffer from UTIs and regular, issues, infections, and whatnot. This is a very real thing that a lot of people don't talk about because it is your general microbiome. So taking care of your gut health and your microbiome sort of health, as it were, from top to bottom is also incredibly important. And you do need to pay attention to that. Berberine is just another, it's such a trendy thing right now. I'm going to sort of do, Kathy, I'm going to do a post or something, maybe an email blast about berberine, because a lot of women are like, oh, taking berberine to lose weight. It's another thing, Kathy, and I appreciate that you asked me that question. But it's just another one of those myths, which is it's just this one thing is going to help me lose weight, help me get rid of belly fat, help me with my, it's never just one thing, Kathy. The way that I operate with everything is and menopause included, is it really is, you want to take a lifestyle medicine approach. It's lifestyle medicine. This is the way of the future. It is a holistic approach, because you can just go, oh, I'm going to take this supplement. Wait a minute, how are you sleeping? How are your relationships with your loved ones and your husband and your children? How are your stress levels? How are your cortisol levels? What is your overall diet? How is your digestion? How is your gut health? Can you see? And if you don't address those pieces, those are some of the most important pieces. No amount of berberine you're taking could help. Right. So what I would say is really guard against. I know it's tempting, and I get it, because we get all these sort of ads and things in our inboxes. It's tempting. We always want a quick hack or a quick fix, but it just doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. And I think one of the biggest pieces that I uncover with the clients that I work with is I give my clients this strategy with all of these holistic tools. But the biggest part that we uncover that really, really changes everything for them is really uncovering what's really going on underneath. And that really is where we go into, more of the deep emotional work. And that's something that you can't ignore in menopause, because if you've ignored that and that inner work up until menopause and what's really, really going on, and you've pushed it down, you've pushed those emotions down or those feelings, it will come back to bite you, particularly in menopause. Because in menopause, there's kind of no escaping it anymore. When you're younger, it's like, oh, I'll deal with that, or I get PMS every month, and and you're running around. But when you are in menopause, which is very often why women get really angry and irritated in menopause, is it's almost like everything configures, your body and everything is just like, you've got to listen now. I need you to listen to what's going on. I need you to listen to what you've been ignoring. I need you to honor and hear me. And that's the really big piece. All right. You're right, Stephanie. It's not a diet. It's absolutely a living. So ladies, I'm going to finish with this. If anybody is, so take these, there's going to be a lot of content that I'm going to be, creating for you. just over the next month, because it is menopause. Today is menopause day, but we're going to be doing a month of it because I don't think a day suffices, frankly, for everything that we want to talk about and go on about. But if you are struggling with, weight, get all of these symptoms that we've talked about today, and you're worried, you can, and I'm just going to put this link in here. You can book a free breakthrough session with me, and I've put the link in right now. But honestly, this is just for women who really know they need help. Like, really, like, I am struggling. I cannot figure this out on my own. I cannot, and I need help. And I'm willing to do this a different way. And I want a completely different lifestyle. And I want help and mentorship in order to do that. And I need some, and then if you do book a call with me, we'll really dig in and we'll look at what's working, what's not working, what you really want, what your desires are, where you want to go. And then if I can help you, I'll show you how. And if not, I'll steer you in a different direction. Because the truth is, ladies, and I'll finish with this, is that 50 and beyond, the second half, now we live much longer as women, our lifespan is much longer, but the second half of your life, or the second half, can be the best years of your life. And so many of us, we've got kids, a lot of you have got grandchildren, you've had great careers, you work hard, so hard, and you've paid your dues. And so if there's one message I can give you today, just don't settle with, oh, this has just got to be terrible now. There is a solution. There really is a solution. So go see your doc, go see your OBGYN if that's on the table with you. If you need help with really shifting and changing your lifestyle and dealing with these inner pieces, you can book a free breakthrough session with me. Links in here. And big Jill, big, healthy, happy hug to you too. I'm so glad that you were on today. Stephanie, same with you, my darling. And Jill, we got Stephanie, and you beautiful regulars. And stay tuned, and I will see you ladies soon.